Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming, from Bravo's Emmy-nominated Top Chef, Antonia Lofaso.
Hello, everyone. I'm very happy to be here in Aspen. Every time I see that still, I get nervous and butterflies, and I'm wearing the jacket, and I'm convinced like Padma and Tom are going to come out, and this is actually a quick fire, and you've all set me up. Like I still have nightmares about it. But I am very happy to be here for the GE Health Forum. Thank you for having me. Tonight I'm going to demonstrate a ginger panna cotta with a little bit of pistachio, thyme, and I've made it with buttermilk instead of with just a little bit of cream, which actually helps cut down the fat. I know it sounds crazy because you hear the word butter and everyone's like, no, 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 butter's bad, butter's bad. Buttermilk actually has a lot less fat in it. I'm Italian, so it's one of my favorite desserts. Thank you for all the Italians in the house. Of course, when I change up a recipe like, a traditional panna cotta, my father gets very, very upset with me because he's like this hardcore Italian from Brooklyn. He's like, what is this? I don't eat this stuff. You've changed it. But hopefully, you'll enjoy it. So I'm going to start here, and I just want you to bear with me because I'm going to pretend like I'm cooking, and so you get the idea, but obviously there's no heat coming from here. But just go along with me, okay? We're going to pretend that I'm turning the burner on, okay? So I'm going to start with just a little bit of buttermilk, about 2 cups, and about a half a cup of regular cream. And what I would do at this point is let that start to come up and simmer. Not to reduce, but just bring it up to temperature. I'm going to cut a vanilla bean, stick it in there, and sort of let it macerate. I'm going to put some fresh ginger and some thyme. But actually, the wonderful chefs here at the Aspen Institute have a beautiful garden out front, and I picked their thyme, and I just love being able to do that. Some ginger. So at this point, what you would do is actually allow this to sort of come together to infuse the flavor, the thyme, the ginger, the vanilla bean, and the cream, and the buttermilk. And it would come up to a simmer. And then I actually will pull it off and just sort of let it sit so that ginger and thyme can actually infuse a little bit longer. Excuse me. I tend to get very parched here in Aspen. Is it the elevation? Okay. If I all of a sudden fall over, just someone come and get me. I've climbed up a flight of stairs and I'm like out of breath and it's kind of scaring me. I thought I was in shape. Okay, so that's going to macerate there. And I'm going to show you the components that go along with it. Like I said before, I'm Italian, and how we would have our meals or our desserts after a meal were fruit and nuts. We would sit down at the table, and it would be, to have, just a little bit of fruit, something sweet, and some nuts. So I've incorporated that in the dish as well. A raw pistachio. I've taken that, and I've roasted it myself. I prefer to get my nuts raw. That sounded funny. And roast them myself, only because, when you buy them in the store, you're not really sure if they're adding more oil to it or if they're, adding salt to it. I prefer just to have them raw, and I'll take care of the roasting process just to sort of develop the nutty flavor. So I've got some roasted pistachios here. I'm going to chop that up. Some candied ginger, and that's basically going to add just a little bit of texture to the dish. We've got something light and creamy, and then a little bit of crunch that goes along with it. You want those different varying of textures in the mouth. It always does wonders. So I'm going to chop that up, and that's going to be our side. And feel free, if you have any questions while I'm doing any of this, just raise your hand. I believe there's a mic that's going to go around, and I'll be able to answer anything that you'd like to know about the dish. Whether or not, Padma was really that beautiful and did she eat, or just anything that you want to know. Usually it's the gossip that everybody gets really excited about. So then some oranges as well. So the side is basically going to be the pistachio, the candied ginger, and oranges. And the orange I'm going to supreme. So I'm basically just going to taste that nice fleshy part away, and I'm just going to have the sweet, delicious orange meat in the center. Supreme, just throw them right out. Supreme is a French term. I don't mean to throw all my culinary terms around. I forget sometimes that, the average person doesn't walk around saying, oh, I just supremed my orange and it was delicious. So to supreme an orange, it's a French term which basically means to remove the outside of the flesh and to just take out that beautiful piece in the center so that you don't have, can you see it there? So that you don't have just sort of the outside membrane of the orange that sort of, gets in the way and you chew it, and that's sort of the messy, very rustic part of the orange. If I want to make it just a little bit more refined and delicate, then I would supreme the orange and just take out the beautiful orange meat in the center. I like to, I'm like, it is. Just bear with me. I'm just going to have to keep hydrating while I'm up here. I'd like to slice the bean in half, and just from it coming up to just a little bit of a simmer, the bean will start to disperse through the dairy. Or you can actually just take your knife and run it. Here's the bean here, so I would cut it lengthwise, open it up, and then all that great bean on the inside will just come out, and that's why you'll see the little bit of like brown speck that goes through the panna cotta. Just is a nice subtle flavor. What type of thyme? This is actually the thyme from outside. It's a lemon thyme. It was a lemon thyme. But honestly, I use just a regular thyme in the store. And thyme is one of those, it's not very overwhelming. It just has like a nice subtle flavor. I think when you're having it, maybe you'll taste it and someone may be like, oh, there's something different about it. I can't quite place my finger on it. It's not like a rosemary or sage where it's very overwhelming. It is fresh. It's from the garden right outside. So as you can see, I've taken the oranges out, and then what I'll end up doing is reserving the juice. So as I'm cutting through the orange, I reserve all the supremes, and then I just take my hand and really just squeeze out all that juice, and then I've got a sauce that didn't require adding any additional dairy, any butter, any sugar, because obviously oranges are naturally sweet. And what I will do then is put it into a pan and let that cook. We can pretend that's cooking over here. So I've got orange juice just simmering until it's almost like a syrup. So it's the consistency of a syrup. And then you've got a natural sauce to go on pretty much anything that you've not had to add any extra additional sugar to. It's just a natural juice, and you're using as much of the product as you possibly can. So after this has come to a simmer and you've tasted it and you can taste all the essence of the ginger and the thyme, at that point I would strain it. So that part I can actually do. So I would strain that mixture because obviously we don't want any hard chunks of ginger or thyme floating through there. And I've got a little bit of powdered gelatin, and the gelatin is what actually kind of makes it stay together. So I'm just going to add a little bit of water to the gelatin to reconstitute. Mix that together. And then essentially the gelatin mixture is going to get mixed with the cream. It's going to be placed in any kind of ramekin of your choice, that will sort of mold it. And then it's set in the refrigerator for up to 3 hours. And you can do this overnight so that it sits and it's done the next day. It's sort of great for parties, especially when you kind of, if you're cooking for the party yourself and you want to prep, you can do it the night before. It's something that you've gotten out of the way. It's in your refrigerator the next day, and you can pick it up and plate it, and it's very easy and delicious. So as you can see on the plate, there's the mixture of the pistachio, of the candied ginger, the panna cotta, the orange, and then the reduction of orange sauce, and then just a little bit of extra thyme just to give it the contrast on the plate as well as in the dish. And I hope you enjoy. Bon appetit. Yes, go ahead. Question. Macerate. You can use the term for really anything. There's another one of those big words. I'm sorry. The term macerate basically means to allow the flavors to sort of come together. I would use the term if I was making like a flavored oil, where I would be chopping herbs and garlic and raisins of some sort, and I would just sort of let it all macerate together. Exactly, putting it all together. Yes. Yes. I think that's a misprint on there. The pistachios, actually, what I've done there on the dish, I've just made a little bit of added crumble, so a little bit of added texture. So I've basically almost made a pie crust. So with the butter and the flour and the sugar, what I've actually done is just sort of blended it by hand, baked it in the oven, and then it sort of crumbles up almost like a breadcrumb. It's like a sweet breadcrumb. Yeah, it's like a sweet breadcrumb, basically. Does anybody, yes, a question?
4 pounds of pistachios, 1 pound.
You know what, I think on there it's a misprint. For 4 to 6 servings, I don't think we need 4 pounds of pistachios.
Is it supposed to be tablespoons?
Yes,
LB.
yes, tablespoons for the pistachios.
Okay,
Yes. You want to think of the pistachios and the candied ginger almost like a breadcrumb. It's going to just be chopped and sort of sprinkled around like a breadcrumb. And that's just giving the extra texture. Like I said, to the panna cotta, you have something soft, and then you wanted something with a little bit of texture. Padma does eat, yes. The question was, does Padma eat? And yes, she does. She eats like a truck driver, actually. She really does. I have to say, it was very impressive to sort of be on the show and watch her do that. You know, it's very overwhelming because initially, the very first episode that we had to make pizzas, and there were 17 pizzas. So she had to try 17 different pizzas. So I know how I would feel after I ate 17 pizzas, and she was fine. She was like a rock star about it. Yeah, I don't really think I had a worst moment. You know, other than, I mean, we would do episodes where we were up for 72 hours, at a time without any sleep. That was the sleep deprivation, I think, was the only thing that sort of had me on edge. I've been working on it. I'm a spokesperson for Stouffer's. I'm a spokesperson for incorporating their different healthy side dishes that go along with a lot of their favorites, their family favorites. I have a 9-year-old daughter, so that's really sort of, I've done like a lot of their family-oriented things, like Let's Fix Dinner, that has to do with families sitting down and eating together. And I've just been on panels of discussions and done demonstrations for people in their offices and things like that. And just really been doing things like this. I recently left my restaurant in December, but I'm looking to open up something else in next year in California. So I just want to thank you for coming out. I'm very happy to be here. I hope you all enjoyed the dessert. Good, I'm glad. And I'll be sitting and answering questions, and I'm joining the health panel, so I'm very excited about that. So enjoy, and thank you again.